Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am in this video looking at one of the newest additions to my World War II German collection. This is DiD's Oberst Claus von Stauffenberg from Operation Valkyrie. If you don't know who Claus von Stauffenberg is, he was associated with probably the most famous assassination attempt on Adolf Hitler, and I say it's most famous because it was almost successful. He carried a bomb in his briefcase to a meeting at Hitler's headquarters along the Eastern Front. I think it's called the Wolf's Lair. He left the briefcase there under the table where the meeting was taking place and left. However, at the last moment, somebody else attending the meeting moved his briefcase from one part under the table to the other. So when it exploded, Hitler ended up with only minor injuries. Of course, all the people associated with the assassination attempt, including Stauffenberg, were hunted down and executed. There was a movie made called Valkyrie, starring Tom Cruise. Hence, you see the two head sculpts with the real Claus von Stauffenberg and then Tom Cruise. So let's get into it. On the back of the cover is the interior of, I guess that's a house, and that'll make sense in a minute. I never use these anyway, but so we'll take a look at what's inside the box. First off, we have the figure with the Tom Cruise head sculpt. One thing you'll notice, he is missing a hand, and this hand, his hand is deformed. There's just a stub at the end of this hand. He lost his hand, and this hand was maimed at while he was serving in North Africa, in the Africa Corps. This tunic is his general staff tunic. And then he also comes with a Oberst field tunic. An Oberst is the equivalent of a colonel in the United States or the British Army. Comes with a single cap here that is used for either tunic. The nice thing about these tunics is these buttons are not real, and it's got snaps on the front. There's also a little hook at the neck. So, but if you've ever dealt with buttoning 6-scale buttons, you'd be happy about that. Here is the Claus von Stauffenberg head sculpt. This is pretty accurate from what I've seen from the historic photos. My one caveat is that this hat fits on this head very difficult, with much difficulty. I think it probably fits better on Tom Cruise, but I really don't want a Tom Cruise head sculpt. He comes with a leather, real genuine leather briefcase, wristwatch, which I probably won't use, a little notebook to fit inside the briefcase, 2 packs of explosives, and then he's got a pair of wire cutters and pliers. In the little packs here are his shoulder his epaulets for the two tunics, and also for the greatcoat, which we'll get to. His eagle insignia for the front of the tunics. Then his collar patches. There's two sets of the green collar patches. There's red and there's green. This is a pass which he used to get to the wolf's lair, and then here are the, I guess, detonation sticks for the plastic explosives. This little thing is a fake eye. He lost one of his eyes while serving in North Africa, and this little container is for storing his little fake eye in. So there's also an eye patch, so you could show him with the eye patch on, or without, so he's got his fake eye in. So, and then on the lower level, he comes with his greatcoat, belt, holster, and pistol. And then there's this little table which you can assemble, and so that's why the image of the inside of the house makes sense. That the table I will probably end up not using, because that will just take up too much space. So there you have it, Claus Stauffenberg, and in a minute we'll see what he looks like assembled. So here we have Claus in both uniform variants. Here on the right, he's in his general staff uniform that he comes in, and on the left here is his field uniform as a colonel. On the right, I've added his eye patch and the briefcase. His wounded hand only has a thumb and two other fingers, and they're not, when the hand is hanging straight down, there's not enough grasp there to hold the briefcase, so I had to bend the arm and the hand inward in order for it to hold the briefcase. On this figure, I replaced his stub on the one arm and the wounded hand with two normal hands. That may not be historically accurate, in that I don't know if he ever wore that uniform before he was injured. But my primary purpose is not so much to have a specific character, but to show a German colonel's uniform. So that's it in a nutshell. They did do something on this figure that I hadn't seen before, and really doesn't make sense, and it did cause some problems. Below the tunics, he's wearing a white shirt, as you can see, the sleeves poking out, and it should be poking up above his collar too. In addition to the shirt, though, they sewed a fake collar in the inside of the tunic collar, and also underneath the shirt is a fat suit that goes all the way up to the neck. The tunic, both tunics, are fastened out the neck with a hook to close it, and it's too tight to fasten that hook with the head in place. So I had to take the heads off to fasten the tunic, but then it was such a tight fit with both the fat suit, the shirt, and the fake collar. It was just a very, very tight fit. It was difficulty getting the head down, the neck of the head down inside. And I tried to pull the collar up so it would show around the edges, but it was just too tight, and I couldn't get it. Why they had a fake collar on the tunics is beyond me. You know, why didn't they just make the collar on the shirt tall enough to stick above the tunic collar? Is, you know, that would have made more sense. So the other thing was the hats are very, very tight. I had to force the hats on the figure. Well, at least this one. This one I just tucked it under his arm. Also, if you're like me and you buy the loose parts to show him in both uniforms, don't make the mistake I did, and I forgot about his Iron Cross badge and his wound badge when I ordered the parts, and it wasn't until I was putting them together that I realized I didn't have them. When I went online to look for them, most retailers only offered these two pieces with this tunic, because that's what it comes on when you buy the figure set. But I did finally find somebody who sold these individually, so I didn't have to buy another general staff tunic. Let's see. Now, he also came with a greatcoat, as you'll recall, and my original intention was just to have these two figures and have him wear one of them wearing the greatcoat with it unbuttoned. But it covered up too much of the uniform, and I didn't like that. So, and since I had a Tom Cruise head sculpt, I decided to create a third figure. Here you go. This, in turn, also had a surprise. I originally was going to have the gray coat buttoned up all the way up to the neck. The one book I have on German uniforms is the only individuals who were allowed to have the greatcoat unbuttoned like this were flag officers and those who had certain neck orders. Well, this guy has neither one. He's not a flag officer. So I had originally was going to button it all the way up, you know, closed for that reason. Plus, then I wouldn't need the tunic underneath. But what I discovered is these buttonholes are fake. Only these three actually button, and these are fake. So I had to, you know, dress him with the greatcoat open like it is. The other thing, he didn't come with these gloves, but I figured, well, if it's cold enough for him to wear a greatcoat, then he would probably be wearing gloves. So I added the gloves. I have mixed feelings about the gloves. On the one hand, they're authentic in material wise, but putting the gloves on the bendy hands, one, they tend to make the hands look too big, and they're just impossible. I find them impossible to pose. So, but there you have it. They do kind of look better than the molded gloves, but. So there you have it. I do have a fourth figure based on Claus von Stauffenberg. The funny thing, when DiD came out with this figure, another company, Facebook, came out with virtually identical figure set. You know, a table, two uniforms, two head sculpts even. Same as DiD. Just a very few minor differences. Then Facebook came out with a second Claus von Stauffenberg figure from when he was in the Africa Corps in the movie Valkyrie. DiD did not come out with a Africa Corps Stauffenberg. So I decided to make my own. You know, I didn't want to get the Facebull figure because I keep all my German figures from DiD. So there's consistency throughout. So I decided to kit bash my own. And that would be this figure. The one inaccuracy is this figure, he already came with the epaulets, you know, the shoulder straps in place, and they are for a captain and not a colonel. But, you know, I can live with that. I will add the pants, the boots, and the belt and cap are all from a Africa Corps figure called Wilhelm, and then the shirt is from an Africa Corps fighter pilot. I will say that if you get into any kit bashing, Africa Corps figure kit bashing with these boots, there is a few things. I've done a number of figures now with these boots, so I'm familiar with them. One, you have to unlace them all the way down to the ankle. You can't try to put the leg and the foot in without doing that. And then you're going to have to relace it all the way up. And the secret to that is to tighten the laces as you're going up. Don't think you can lace them up and then you'll come back and try to tighten them up, because you'll drive yourself crazy. So that is the secret to putting these boots on. So it's not as difficult as it looks. So it just takes some getting used to. So those are my 4 Claus Stauffenberg figures. I was thinking about adding an eye patch to this figure so he wouldn't look so Tom Cruise-y, but that hat was pretty hard getting on, and so I don't relish having to take it off to add an eye patch. So there you have it.